Hi everybody. In this video, we are working on the June 2024 exam, numbers 9 through 14, and I just want to explain to you what happened, okay? When I started this video once, and I got through this question, so this is going to be its own little video, okay, number 9, and you're going to find that separate from this video. Then, when I was doing question number 10, I made a silly little mistake, and rather than start the whole video over, I'm just going to start from number 10, okay? So number 10, right? There are two ways to actually do this question, number 10, and I'm going to show you both. What is the y-intercept of the line that passes through these points? Now, the first thing you need to know is what is a y-intercept, okay? And we'll talk about that in a minute as I show you what's going on. So since you have 2 points, you have 2 options, really. One is to use your stat edit, stat calc buttons and that option in your calculator to find the y-intercept, and I'll go over that in a second. And the second one, though, is since you have 2 points, you might want to graph. Now, in the back of your packet, okay, there is graph paper, okay? Okay, somewhere in your review book you have graph paper. There's also a reference sheet, but when you get your Regents exam, you have a reference sheet with important formulas, and you have graph paper available to you to do problems such as this. Now, graph paper will not be graded, however, excuse me, however, it's good to get questions right. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my ruler. I'm going to sketch a little tiny XY axis. Okay, this is X, this is Y. Now, your y-intercept will be the point that is going to fall on this axis, lie on this axis. Okay, so wherever the point is on that yellow line, that's going to be your y-intercept. Okay, important vocabulary. Okay, you're going to win or lose this test by your vocabulary knowledge, really. Okay, so I'm going to take these points, -1, 5, okay, from the 0, 0, from the origin, -1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is up here. Okay, and 2, -1 is down here. Right? And then again, with your ruler, connect the dots. Don't leave this to chance, right? Because if you're off a little bit, you're going to get the wrong answer. Okay, so connect them with your ruler. Good graphs have arrows. Right? And now we're going to find the y-intercept. And the y-intercept is this point right here where it intercepts the y-axis. And this is at 1, 2, 3. And when I look over here, it is going to be choice 3. Right? So it's as easy as that. Okay? However, if you tend to make mistakes graphing points or drawing a straight line, or you just don't understand, that's okay. You should know those things, so let's review those things. But that's a nice, easy question for those 2 points. But I'm going to show you also how to do this question using the technique of stat edit, stat calc. So the first thing I'm going to do is create an XY table and put my points into the table so that they're aligned properly when they go into the calculator. And these are the steps that we're going to do in our calculator. Stat edit, go into L1, L2. Okay, your X becomes L1, your Y becomes L2. And then we're going to use stat calc 4, do a linear regression, and be able to do this question. Okay, as long as we know what we're looking for, the y-intercept. Okay, so in my calculator, I'm going to go to stat, and stat is right here. Okay, so stat, okay, option 1 is edit, okay, there are numbers in my L1, so I'm going to go up to L1, highlighted here, clear, and come down, and now they're gone. Okay, so on the day of the regions, your calculators should be cleared, and they should be set up for, everything should be out of there. But if it's not, or you've already done something in the calculator, that's how you clear it. All right, and I'm going to type these numbers into my L1. -1, enter. 2, enter. I'm going to go up and match them. -1 goes with 5, enter. And 2 goes with -1, enter. All right, so those have to match exactly like the XY table. And that's why we do the XY table, because sometimes, right, this gets messed up in the translation. So now we're going to go to Stat, over to Calc using my gray arrow and choosing option 4. Let me just show you that again. Stat, Calc. Option 4 says linear regression, AX plus B. That should look familiar. B is going to be your y-intercept. Okay. Enter, 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 enter. Okay. And this gives you a lot of information on your ugly screen. Hold on a second. What happened here? Why did it come up as Stat Calc 1? Stat Calc 4. Okay, I guess when I showed you again. All right, then we're going to enter, 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 enter. I did Stat Calc 1 by accident. Okay, so here it is. AX plus B. A is -2. That's your slope. And look what they did here. They gave you that answer. Okay, and B is equal to 3. That's your y-intercept. So if you're showing this work, you're going to go y equals AX plus B. A equals -2. B equals 3. This is my slope. This is the y-intercept. So another way to do the problem, okay, if you don't want to graph. Number 11, Nancy has just been hired for her first job. Her company gives her 4 choices for how she can collect her annual salary over the first 8 years of employment. All right, each function below shows the 4 choices she has for her annual salary in thousands of dollars, where T represents the number of years, T is time, after she's hired. Which pay plan should Nancy choose in order to have the highest salary in her 8th year? Now, I always say that questions 1 through 10 should be very doable. And I think questions number 1 through 10 on this exam have been very doable. Okay, we get to question 11. It's the first time we're like, breathe. Okay. So which plan should she use? This is a totally calculator question, unless you know the knowledge that goes behind the difference between an exponential function and a linear function. Okay. And then this one will be a quadratic function. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to put each one of these choices into our calculator in y equals, see what happens at 8. Okay. When X is 8, 8 is your year, X is time, and we're going to compare all of our answers. So I'm going to go to y equals and just start typing very carefully. All right, so 2 to the T, 2, up arrow, T, 2 with an exponent of T, get out of the exponent and add 25. Okay, second graph, what's happening at 8? $281,000. Okay, these are in thousands, right? Okay, so this is, but they're all going to be in thousands. So this is 281. All right, let's see what happens to the next one. Y equals, clear my answer. $10T, which is X, plus 75. Second graph, what's happening at 8? 8 is 155. So we know that it's not B. Okay. Next one, square root function. Second mode, y equals, clear. Square root, second, x squared, 400. T is under the exponent. Step out of the exponent, step out of the square root, excuse me. Okay, and then do plus 80. Okay, second graph, what's happening at 8? 136.57. Still not higher than 281, so it's not going to be C. Okay, y equals, clear. Let's type in the next one. 2 parentheses, t plus 1, parentheses squared, right there. Okay, minus 10t. This is a quadratic function. What goes up must come down. And as I'm talking, I messed that up. 10x plus 50. Second graph, what's happening at 8? 132. Okay, still not higher than 281. D is not my answer. Choice A is my winner. Okay. All right. Know how to use your calculator. Know your vocabulary. Know how to do some algebra. Okay, those are the 3 most important pieces of advice I could give you at this time. Okay, number 12. The third term in a sequence is 25 and the fifth term is 625. Which number could be the common ratio? Now, this is your vocabulary word. You have to know what a common ratio is. And a common ratio means, okay, they're not even telling you what kind of a sequence it is, but the common ratio is in a geometric sequence. Okay, it's the number that we multiply by. Okay, so we're multiplying by a number to go from the third term to the fifth term, to go from 25 to 625. Now, if you realize that to go from 25 to 625, you're multiplying by a number, a whole number, an integer, and not a fraction, you could safely eliminate choice 1 and choice 3. Okay, but let's see what the question looks like. Okay, I have my x values, I have my y values, and I'm just, oops, sorry, I'm not on the screen, just organizing this information. So the problem says that my third term is 25, and my fifth term is 625. Okay, and they are getting larger, so it's not going to be the fraction numbers. Okay, so at this point, a couple things you can do. You can sit there and figure it out, okay, or you can use your choices, right? Think smarter, not harder. Choice 2 is 5. If I multiply this by 5, using my calculator, 25 times 5 is 125. That means my fourth term would be 125. And if I multiply by 5 again, I get my answer, 625. I get this number, 625. So I'm multiplying by 5 in order to go from the third term to the fourth term, and then from the fourth term to the fifth term. Okay, next page. Okie dokie. In the box plot below summarizes the data for the amount of snowfall in inches during the winter of 2021 for 12 locations in Western New York. It snows a lot in Western New York. That's up by Buffalo. The question asks, what is the interquartile range? Okay, you need to know where to find the interquartile range. So the first thing I'm going to do is say, I want to see what's going on this reference sheet. In the back of your exam, you will have a reference sheet. Look at the reference sheet. Know what's on your reference sheet, but more importantly, know what's not on it. The interquartile range is right here, abbreviated IQR, interquartile range. And to find the IQR, you're going to take quarter 3 and subtract quarter 1. So I'm going to write that here on my paper. Okay, and I'm going to put that reference sheet back. Actually, I'm going to keep it handy. Now I'm going to put it back. All right, so to find the interquartile range, I am going to take quarter 3 and subtract quarter 1 based on my formula. So where, do you ask, are quarter 3 and quarter 1? So on this typical box plot, we have 5 vertical lines. Okay, again, what I'm about to write here is something that you should study. You should put it in your study guide, in the back of your book, things that you want to look at right before the exam. This vertical line is your minimum value. This vertical line represents your maximum value. Who had the least snowfall, who had the most snowfall. In the middle, we find the median, okay? The median snowfall, okay? Very close to the average in most cases. Sometimes it's not, though. Then the other two vertical lines are your quartiles. So this first one, guess what, is Q1. This second one, which is your first, second, third, is Q3. So the box shows you the quartiles. The whiskers, which is what we used to call them, is your maximum and your minimum. Copy this down, study this chart, know the parts of your box plot. Okay, so Q3 is here, and Q1 is here. Q1 is easy, that's 60. Q3 is between 100 and 120, which would make it 110. So 110 minus 60, and if you need your calculator, use your calculator. 110 minus 60 is equal to 50. And 50 is your answer. Okay. Don't get a question wrong because you're too proud to use your calculator, okay? Or do it in your head, use your mental math, and then figure it out. Make sure you check it. Okay, number 14, last question in this video. 4 quadratic functions are represented below, and we know that it's a quadratic because it's got an x squared in it. Okay, and when we graph a quadratic, it makes this lovely U shape called a parabola. And if we multiply by a negative, the U shape would be upside down like a frown. All right, so let's start with this one. Okay, we want to find, oh, I'm sorry, we didn't even read the question. Which function has the smallest minimum value? Now, your minimum value can be found at the vertex. Okay, and each of these 4 choices, okay, you have to know where the vertex is. So I'm going to start with this choice 2 because the vertex is this point. And because it's at the bottom, it's a minimum value. If it were at the top, it would be a maximum value. Okay, so the vertex of this equation is 1, comma, -1, -2, -3, -4. Okay, so the vertex here, the minimum value is at -4. Okay, easy peasy. All right, so let's go to this one because now we have a chart. The chart usually comes from the graph, or the graph comes from the chart. So these match, these match. That means this point is called your vertex. Okay, and this is our lowest point, just like it was over here. So since -5 is lower than -4, choice 2 could not possibly be my answer. Okay, so right now, choice 4 is our winner. As I do this video, yesterday was the Kentucky Derby, so it's like, yeah, winner, winner. All right, here we go. We're going to clear that out, and we're going to type that in. And if you don't know, the Kentucky Derby is a horse race that is raced in Kentucky. Very popular, part of the trifecta. One of them is also the Belmont Stakes, which is in Belmont, New York, which is not too far from, well, about an hour from where we are on the way to Kennedy Airport. Okay, anyway, x minus 3, okay, x minus 3, parentheses, squared, okay, your squared button is right there, minus 7, right, and we're going to graph it. Okay, this is the vertex. Okay, I'm going to go second graph and find that vertex. Okay, and I'm going to find it by doing the same thing that I did on the table. Okay, I'm going to even this out so that the top and the bottom match. Okay, this point and this point match. This point and this point matches. And there's my vertex, 3, -7. Okay, which means this is my lowest point, and -7 is lower than -5. So that means that 4 is no longer my answer. Okay, choice 1 scooted ahead. Right? Now, if you recognize a pattern here with this one here, -7 is part of your y-intercept, okay, or it tells about a shift. The shift is going down, not your y-intercept, I said that wrong. It tells you about your shift. Your shift is right 3, down 7, right 3, down 7. So if you see that and you know that, you almost don't need the calculator, okay, but we're going to check it anyway. So we're going to do this one now. Okay, this one has a shift of up 3. Y equals, clear, x squared plus 6x plus 3. Graph. There's my vertex in the negative zone. Second graph. Find the vertex. We have to go into the negative zone. Okay, match. 3, 3, -2, -2, -5, -5, -6, -3, comma, -6. Okay, so that's my vertex. This is the lowest point. So the lowest of them all, we have -4, we have -5, we have -6. Choice 1 is your correct answer. It's the lowest of them all. Okay, and that is the end of this video. All right, so come join me for the next one, and I'll see you soon.